men, right? Not all of you guys are like that. It like just marries in between everything. This 1950s style type of elegance to you. Have any of you guys ever really loved the notes of citruses within fragrances but thought to yourself, oh my goodness, not another citrus fragrance, it's going to be very, very boring? Well, in today's video for the summer and for like the upcoming autumn, I do have some really amazing citrus based fragrances which aren't boring whatsoever, so there will be something for everyone here and with very different citrus notes as well. So if it is something that you guys are interested in, just keep watching and we'll just jump straight into it. I guess why I really wanted to film this video is because I thought when I was away on holiday recently, I did bring with me a lot of citrus based fragrances. Obviously for the summer, you tend to gravitate towards maybe more fresher fragrances, and I did think, oh, it's such a shame that people think that citrus fragrances are boring because not all of them smell like cleaning product. I have quite a few here. I'm just going to count. Actually, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 different citrus fragrances, all with varying different notes, and these are a mix, by the way, so they are all unisex. Men and women can definitely pull all of these off. So to begin with, I first wanted to gravitate towards a fragrance that I've already spoken a lot about, maybe not recently but definitely one that I really love from the brand. This one is called Verano from Ormonde. Now there used to be Montebacco Verano, which was the flanker of Montebacco. Since then they've created like a Montebacco Intensivo. They also have Montebacco Rio, Cuba, there's various different ones, and since then I think the Verano version was so popular that they made a fragrance by itself, which I'm really glad that they did. And this is actually my partner's fragrance, so I did buy it for his birthday, and as you can see he's already lost the cap. He does this all the time, by the way. Anytime that I gift him a fragrance, when he buys a fragrance, he always seems to lose the cap somewhere. Men, right? Not all of you guys are like that, but a lot of you seem to lose things all the time. But anyway, this is a really beautiful grapefruit scented fragrance. Now it definitely still has like hints of the Montebacco, which is this airy, light but slightly woody and sexy fragrance. It opens up with grapefruit as well as bitter orange, so those two in combination just makes it smell so vibrant, so juicy, and it doesn't lose its like masculine edge. I think both women and men can wear this, but this is a little bit more masculine leaning and maybe down to like the more woody aromatic type of nuances, and it's quite a warm but still icy fragrance. It's really weird how it plays like tricks on your nose because it does have a spicy element to it in its heart, but then towards the end it does become a lot more woodier, a lot more aromatic. So if you can imagine just the normal Montebacco, that airy, woody, sexy type of overtone or undertone, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore, but that married with these really bright, icy, almost citrus kind of tones with the grapefruit, it just marries to become a really beautiful fragrance. The only thing that is a little bit of a gripe of mine with this one, and I've talked about it before, but it is the longevity. This isn't a super long lasting fragrance, so what I recommend to everyone is always to sample first. Definitely get a sample size of this. A lot of you gents who have messaged me and DM'd me about this fragrance have also said that this is one of your most favorite fragrances, and I completely agree with you. It's just such a shame that it doesn't really last super long. But when my partner was wearing this over the holiday period and when we were away, I did really start to smell it a lot on his clothing, because he was wearing it almost like on a daily basis. I was able to get a lot more out of smelling it. It sounds really bizarre me saying that, but it does linger quite well on your clothes. And yeah, anyway, if you guys want to discover it, I have a link down in my description below. So that is Verano from Ormonde. So the next fragrance that I have leading on from that grapefruit orange type of undertone, I have Purple Oud from Dior. Now this is also a fan favorite. This has to be one of the most unique oud fragrances I've come across, and the reason why I say that is because they've paired citruses with woody undertones and with a really beautiful note of saffron. So I would say it's quite spicy, But again, with that orange note, it also might have a bit of grapefruit in here. It just makes it smell very juicy and icy at the same time. And then obviously you have like the smokiness and the woodiness from the oud. The oud in here is not animalic whatsoever. To me, it just comes across almost a bit incensey and smoky. And what I love about this fragrance, it definitely plays a lot of tricks on your nose, because you have the combination of the icy fruitiness as well as like the spiciness from the saffron, and then this weird woody smoky concoction from the oud. It kind of smells like tar to me sometimes, like, you know, actual like plastic rubbery tar, but in the nicest possible way. It also has like a little bit of underlying sweetness, which is coming from that saffron and that orange note. So just like as an overall fragrance, if you want something that you can take from day to night, this is a really great option, and the longevity on this is fantastic. So if you do want something that is a little bit longer lasting, as I said, kind of has a little bit more complexity to it, and probably has a little bit more of a like unique personality, definitely try Purple Oud. It's a really unusual fragrance, and honestly it's one of the best from the Christian Dior, the private line that they have. I don't really see that many people talking about this fragrance, which is a massive shame, and I do believe it's definitely very unisex leaning, so both men and women can pull this off. So if you are after something a bit fresher but you still like a bit of an oudy, woody, smoky undertone, definitely try Purple Oud from Christian Dior. So the next fragrance that I have is probably the least boring and the most characterful out of all of the fragrances here. This is so unique to the point where until I tried this fragrance, I don't think many of them that I've tried, even, you know, from like Xerjoff line or from different lines, have ever come across like anything quite similar to this. So this is from the Join the Club collection, which from Xerjoff are specific, dedicated towards clubs or societies. So this one I believe was made for Selfridges, and they also have Cambridge Club, which is for Harvey Nichols, 40 Knots, which is like a yacht society, Torino, 21, which is like more tennis leaning. So they have all of these various different ones from the Join the Club collection, and this is called JTC 400. Now, if you guys have watched me for many years, you will have seen me talk about this fragrance time and time again, and it's one of those fragrances that really like eludes you, because you don't really know like what you're picking up from it. You don't know whether it's a citrus fragrance, you don't know whether it's a floral fragrance, neither do you think it's a woody fragrance. It's kind of a combination of everything. Now apparently you have lemon and bergamot in this fragrance, which you do definitely get like on first sniff. But what I find really very peculiar about this is you kind of have like a bit of a bitter orange type of vibe in this. It's as if you've paired bitter orange with this really treacly dark manuka honey, and you have like a really big note of ylang-ylang and white florals in this. It's a really unusual fragrance. It almost has a bit of a medicinal vibe, and you don't typically get that with a lot of citrus fragrances. This is a very deep, very unusual, buttery, treacly type of fragrance. And if you are after something that still has a bit of brightness in the top, this still kind of lingers throughout the entirety of the fragrance. The citruses in here almost smell a little bit candied. So again, that lemon, that bergamot, no, it isn't super icy. It's more as if it's just been like marinating in sugar. And then on top of that, you have this like really dark, bitter orange type of note that's going on in this fragrance. So what I love about it is, again, you have a concoction of various different citrus notes. It's not just lemon, it's not just bergamot, it's kind of everything in combination. And the ylang-ylang and the honey in here is so pronounced. This is a really quite an ethereal, super unusual fragrance. So again, if you've never tried this one before, definitely sample it first. Please, for the love of God, do not blind buy it, because as I said, it's probably one of the most unique fragrances you'll come across. So anyway, from the house of Xerjoff, we have JTC 400. Now moving on to a fragrance which, leading on from that orange type of theme, this is orange on steroids. I don't think you can get a more realistic orange citrus based fragrance than this one. This used to be one of my partner's favorite fragrances. He prefers Clementine California, or I can't even remember which one it is, which way around it is, or California Clementine. But this one to me is a really realistic version of what an orange fragrance should be like. So this is Orange Sanguine from Atelier Cologne. Now they always have various different types of packaging. I think they have already revamped the packaging so they all look very different. And this is a really incredible concoction of all different various oranges. So you have mandarin, you have bitter orange, and you have blood orange. So this is literally orange on steroids. I don't think you can get much more orange than this. And what I love about it is that it definitely has like this underlying sweetness, but it's not overly sweet where it doesn't feel like everything is super candied. And I think that's like the nice juxtaposition of, you know, having like a blood orange, which is a lot more bitter, in comparison to a mandarin, which is a lot lighter, a lot fruitier and sweeter. And then that bitter orange kind of like just marries in between everything. It's super lush. It's very juicy as well. I don't think you can get many fragrances that capture that juicy feel, you know, when you're first kind of peeling an orange, for example, and then you're getting all that lovely juice just kind of like bouncing off. This is definitely what you get in this fragrance, and it has slightly like a very slight spice in here, which I don't really understand where that comes from. It could be like a pepper, it could be a saffron, marrying everything together. But honestly, there isn't really much else going on in this fragrance apart from it being a very heavy orange citrus based fragrance. So again, if you guys are into something like that, and if you want something very photorealistic, definitely try Orange Sanguine from Atelier Cologne. Now the next fragrance that I have here is a very popular one, and a lot of people tend to talk about it. And yes, I guess it's boring in that aspect, the fact that it is very popular and a lot of people know it, but at the same time it doesn't take away from how unique this one is in comparison to other citrus aromatic leaning olfactive groups. So this is Bal D'Afrique from Byredo. Now I don't think I need to do an introduction here. This is such a unique citrus green vetiver fragrance. It also has a really big note of florals in the mid. It might have some marigold, some yellow florals, which kind of give it like this yellow floral buttery daffodilly kind of thing going on in here. But ultimately the citruses definitely have a massive play. You have bergamot, you have lemon, you have neroli, and that in combination to everything makes it smell a little bit icy, a little bit juicy and fresh in the beginning, which adds to like the overall freshness of this fragrance. I would say this is quite a clean fragrance with a bit of personality, and that personality is coming from mainly the vetiver and the floral notes. The vetiver has a bit of a dry greenness, a bit like a hay-like dryness to it. But then you also have the juiciness of the citruses. So it's a really beautiful combination, and everything works so well together. And this is probably the most unisex of unisex fragrances you can possibly get. I've seen women wear this, I've seen men wear this. The only problem with this fragrance is the longevity. Now I believe they've come out with like an absolute version of this, which I would imagine is like an extra where the perfume oil, the natural oil, is a little bit higher. Whether that lasts a bit longer or not, that's entirely subjective. I guess I'll need to try that fragrance first in order to give you guys like a proper review. But anyway, if you guys really want something maybe, you know, quite unique but still having that aromatic freshness, try Bal D'Afrique from Byredo. Moving on to that citrus aldehydic green aromatic type of vibe, we have a fragrance here which again is a very popular one. I actually find a lot of older women tend to wear this fragrance. I've come across a lot of boomers, and that the only reason why I say boomers, by the way, is because I've just filmed a video around generation Z, Y, X, all of the alphabets, and boomers just came to my mind because the lady who I'm thinking of was technically a boomer, so that's why I'm saying it. It's not like a derogative thing, it is literally just that she's from that generation. And actually a lot of women who are from this generation really love this fragrance. This has been on the market technically from like 2009. I think they like re-released it. So this is a really beautiful concoction. This has juniper berries, which again is kind of like in line with that gin style, because as you guys know, gin derives from juniper berries, and it's a really unusual fragrance because it has this icy sweetness which is coming from the citruses, but equally it has like this really airy aromatic type of vibe that's going on in this fragrance. So the main component is obviously the lemon, so you have like a little bit of a lemon zest type of opening, and it's very icy. You have some aldehydes kind of pairing with that, so it has a very clean, fresh linen type of feeling to it. And alongside that, again, you have the juniper berries, you have this woody aromatic aspect to it. But what I love about this fragrance, despite it being an aromatic forward-leaning perfume, it doesn't really lean too masculine for me. Like a lot of the times whenever I try aromatic fragrances, they always come across quite masculine, especially when they have like a little bit of pepperiness, and alongside the citruses as well, it always leans a little bit too masculine for me. Whereas this one, because it has this underlying sweetness and like light muskiness from, if that's even a word, from the aldehydes, it really has like this powdery, fizzy type of element, which is all coming back down to the name, right? The gin fizz. This is such a mature, elegant, but still very fresh, clean out the shower type of fragrance. So again, if you want to smell super elevated, but you don't want to smell boring, you want to have that very almost glamorous 1950s style type of elegance to you with being fresh, definitely try Gin Fizz from Lubin. Now, one of the last fragrances that I have here is from the Casamorati line, and I believe they used to be partners with Xerjoff, but then obviously they kind of like delved into two separate houses. And this one is called Dolce Amalfi, which is a very popular one. Now, the reason why I wanted to feature this fragrance is because to me, it kind of has a bit more of a gourmand aspect to it. And honestly, it's very similar to this fragrance. So this is La Danza delle Libellule from Nobile 1942. And this is also a gourmand citrus-based fragrance. So this has a really big note of bergamot, apple, cinnamon, and a huge note of vanilla, whereas Dolce Amalfi also has a really big note of citruses in the top, whether that's like a bergamot or a lemon, and has a lot of resins, vanilla, and fruits in the base. So they're both very similar to me because obviously they have the fruity aspect from the apple, fruity aspect in here, big note of vanilla, and then this really nice bergamot lemony type of top. Now, what's quite special about Dolce Amalfi is the fact that it has a note of quince, and quince is a really unusual fruit. Not a lot of fragrances tend to feature this note, apart from maybe Pas Ce Soir from BTK Parfums, which I know is like quite a popular one. For me, it's really nice, but it's just not one that shouts and screams to me. You know, I think it's a really beautiful, elegant fragrance, but it's not, you know, full bottle worthy. And neither is this one, to be honest, and maybe that's down to the level of sweetness. This is a very sweet fragrance. Is it very feminine and beautiful? Definitely, and I think a lot of women can definitely pull this off. I would say maybe not so many men can wear this, but it's still unisex leaning, of course, so both men and women can wear this. And as I said, that kind of mixture with the resins, the quince, the bergamot, everything in combination with each other just makes it smell very fruity, tart, gourmand. So, you know, you can definitely take this from day to night. So for example, if you're going out and if you want something to take you from brunch down to when you're going out in the evening with the ladies, this is a really good option. And equally, this is also a really lovely option. This has a really big note of bergamot. The vanilla in here is very prominent, and then you have the apple. Apparently, people say that this smells too Christmassy to them, but honestly I don't really get that at all. There is like a slight hint of cinnamon, and people say it smells like apple pie, but honestly it doesn't really go that direction for me. So in fact I actually prefer this fragrance to Dolce Amalfi from Casamorati. So anyway, I just wanted to show you guys both options there if you are after something a bit sweeter and maybe more leaning towards that gourmand type of vibe. So those are those fragrances. So guys, that is it for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed, and again, if you guys have any maybe unusual, unique citrus style fragrances in your collection, definitely comment it down below. I'm very, very intrigued. And yeah, I wish you guys a lovely week or a lovely weekend whenever you're watching this, and I will catch you soon.